Presentation of the Department. Kanesatake Business and Economic Development. Presented by Tracy Bonspiel, Patrick Gilina, Nadia Robinson, and Manon Janat. Starting point. As of 2017, MCK wanted to have an effective economic development team in place. It was the vision of the Grand Chief Serge Otzi-Simon to have a business corporation completely independent of MCK. He started to look at the business structure example from other communities. Meanwhile, Grand Chief Otzi-Simon attended a presentation by Chief Portfolio Manon Janat of the economic development for the AFNQL Chiefs Assembly. During this meeting, Manon Janat, a Mi'kmaq from Gaspé, did a presentation on her research for the completion of her MBA. From this point on, many discussions started between the MCK portfolio chiefs of economic development, Chief Patricia Maillard, Chief John Kanesatake, Grand Chief Otzi Serge Simon, and Manon Janat, about the possibilities for Kanesatake to have a grant to create a team to be put in place. Starting point continued. 2018. October, MCK submitted a project to Canada Economic Development, CED, to have a grant to put in place a Department of Business and Economic Development made up of 2 teams. December, the project was approved by CED with a grant of a total of $592,200 for a period of 3 years. 2019. In January, Nadia Robinson was the first member of the team to start as marketing and business development consultant, and as MCK had many needs in her position, she multitasked and she assisted the Kanesatake Rono to start their own businesses. In February, Manon Janat started as a business strategies consultant, and a few months later, Council identified her to act as director of the department. In April, Tracy Bonspiel joined the team as the Economic Development Manager. In May, Patrick Gilina joined the team as Economic Development Officer. In December, Karen Murray joined the team as the Eco-Agricultural Agent. 2020, in May, Marie-Lise Bastien joined the team as the Project Support to Grant Requests. Business and Economic Development Team. Manon Janat, Business Strategies and Development Consultant and Acting Director. Marie-Lise Bastien, Expert in Financing Research. Tracy Bonspiel, Manager. Nadia Robertson, Marketing and Business Development Consultant. Patrick Gilina, Economic Development Officer. Karen Murray, Eco-Agriculture Officer. Budgets. 3-year funding. The goal was to get funding to establish a department comprised of 2 teams, one for business development and the other for economic development. The objectives were also to create structuring projects, new businesses, job creations, to have an educational and succession plan to unify objectives. The plan is going well, as you can see. We started with the project, The Garden of Hope. Grants received for 3 years. Indigenous Services Canada, $181,000 annually, 38%. This amount came from the band support of economic development. Canada Economic Development, $592,200 for a 3-year project, 42%. The SAA, $281,014 on 3-year project, 20%. Budget expenses from January 2019 to March 2020. 68% human resource. Project payments to help entrepreneurs, 6%. Administration charges, 4%. Communications, 4%. Office supply, equipment, and electricity, 2%. Community events and workshops, 2%. Strategic and engagement sessions, 7%. And travel, 7%. Help received for the Garden of Hope. Crow helped the Garden of Hope with the employability program that gave the opportunity to 6 people to work on the territory for the summers 2020. The grants we received from Kanesatake Health Center, $30,000, MAMH, $5,000, MAPAC, $3,750, CISS Laurentide, $2,000, for a total of $40,750. Budget expenses for the Garden of Hope: human resource 66%, materials 22%, leasing of equipment 8%, supplies 2%, fuel 1%, communications and contests 1%. How to get help from the department. How it works. The Kanesatake promoter books an appointment with one of our team members to discuss their idea. To open a file, the promoter is requested to provide a copy of their status card and their CV. The promoter is then provided with an MCK application form and, depending on the size of the project, a template of how to build a business plan. Once the completed application is returned, it is reviewed to determine whether the project is viable. If the project is determined not viable, the team member will contact the Kanesatake promoter to advise them and will follow up with a letter from the department. If the project is determined viable, it is then presented to a committee for approval for small startup funding. For larger projects, a business plan is required, which we suggest should be done by a professional. Once the business plan is received, it is reviewed by the team member and discussed with the Kanesatake promoter, and in case any modifications need to be done. Once considered viable and eligible for SAA-AIF funding, a BCR is prepared by the Economic Development Manager and presented to Council for approval. If declined, the Kanesatake promoter will be advised by the Economic Development Manager verbally and via letter. If approved, the promoter will be presented with this agreement to sign. Then the business plan will be forwarded to the SAA along with the BCR for funding.
How much money was given to our people? We have serviced 28 files from January 2019 to September 2020, of which 5 files received AIF funding with an amount of $933,459, and 3 are in pending for $225,441, for a total of $1,158,900. 2 files received TBCF funding with a combined amount of $148,799. 12 files received funding from Economic Development /MCK with a combined amount of $66,850. All other files have not handed in their business plans as of yet. To the left, we find a pie chart entitled Grant to Entrepreneurs, which depicts the different percentages of project funding stemming from these 3 funding sources: Aboriginal Initiatives Fund, Tuatunizakta Business Contribution Fund, and MCK Economic Development Department. The year of 2019, the month of March, both the political and management team of MCK sat down together to share their visions on the future of Kanesatake economy. In April, we created the Kanesatake Business and Economic Development Department. Later that month, we held some networking events with the Fonds communautaire d'accès au microcrédit, FCAMC, and with the Women in Business with the MRC of Two Mountains. In the month of May, we organized working sessions for community entrepreneurs with the AFNQL EDC, also known as the Economic Development Commission. Later that month, we worked on a project for a food bank. And we worked on a request of grants to be able to rebuild the new KYOT. In July, we did an economic tour in Quebec Mi'kmaq territory with the Grand Chief and a few other chiefs. And from July to September, we worked hard in various items on reconciliation with the SAA, that's the Aboriginal Affairs Secretariat, and the MRC about the problematics with the mayor of Oka. Continuing with a list of a few things we did, at the end of August, we held a lemonade stand at the powwow with the youth entrepreneurs of Kanesatake. In September, a historical meeting was held between MCK and all the mayors of the MRC of the Lake of Two Mountains in the presence of the mayor of Mirabel and the minister of the Secretariat for Aboriginal Affairs and Member of Parliament for Mirabel, Sylvie Damour. The business development team presented to this meeting the possibilities of collaboration in business and economic development. In October and November, we worked with the elementary school to put in place Kanesatake Youth Entrepreneurs Program. We worked with FCAMC on a 6-week program workshop to help promoters build their business plan. In December, we started the engagement sessions with the community on Mohawk economy. Come 2020, January and February, we continued the engagement sessions with the community on Mohawk economy. Also in February, we held a discussion dinner with the community at the Abbey in Oka to share what we had heard so far. In March, the team was trained on Microsoft Project Manager, and right after, we were in COVID-19 mode. Continuing still with the list of a few things we did, in the year 2020, in the month of March, we gave entrepreneurship workshop at the elementary school. We worked with the financing of the MCK part for the ERU. In the month of April, we helped put in place the structure of the food bank. We also helped with the organization of feeding the emergency crews. Later that month, we worked on the structure of the project of the Garden of Hope. We attended to the COVID-19 regional meetings, and we put in place a way to work efficiently as a team in a COVID-19 mode. In the month of May, the Garden of Hope project started. We continued to help people of the community who wanted to start their own business. Later that month, we continued to attend the COVID-19 daily regional meetings. We attended many meetings on economic development to plan for after COVID-19. The month of June, we continued to work on the implantation of the Mohawk economy, like the orientation of cultural tourism and eco-agriculture. From July to September, we continued to help the Kanesatake Hironu with their own business projects. And October, November saw us continue to work on the eco-agricultural project. What projects could emerge? Eco-agriculture, such as greenhouses, greenhouse containers, Kanesatake Eco-Agricultural Co-op. Tourism and culture, such as cultural tourism, Oka Park Partnership. Sports and leisures, establish a multi-purpose hotel complex, etc. Renewable energy, green energy, new technologies. Food security, caterer, food bank, etc. Community engagement. At every step, we will continue to engage the community. It is important for us and for Council to have your opinion on each project. It's an ongoing process. At the bottom, we see a picture of the setup for the engagement sessions held in the round room at Rotimanagete. And at the top, we see the EGDEF team in action during the community engagement supper at the Oka Abbey. Nyawa from the Business and Economic Development Team